Hey y'all, Rob here with ATX Legal, and today we are ranking ignition interlock vendors. These are the 6 approved vendors in Travis County, although some of them are nationwide companies, and we're going to be ranking them 6 to 1. Now, quick caveat, of course, this is not legal advice, but if you do want legal advice on your specific issue, you can reach us at a contact form down below. Just fill it out and we can set up a no-cost consultation. Now, even though we're ranking all 6, there is a clear winner in my opinion. So if you just want to skip to that, there are chapters so you can click to the last one and find out who I would recommend. But if you want to hear my reasons for choosing the winner, stick around. You might think the only consideration is price, and that is a main consideration, but there are other factors. I'm ranking these companies on the price for both installation and monthly fees, convenience of their locations, their customer service, their quality of technicians, and that can be very important, which we'll talk about later. And then there are certain deal breakers that cause me to not recommend a company under any circumstances. Now, these prices I obtained either on their website or by calling the companies. In some cases, these prices can be different based on what vehicle you have. So obviously these things are subject to change. Always call the company and find out what the price is at the time you're getting your IID installed. But enough waffling, let's jump right into it. So coming in at last at number 6 is LifeSafer, and if you saw my previous video, you probably already know why. They send out these deceptive mailers that look like court documents that are not only misleading, they contain wrong information, and if you want more information about that, you can watch the other video. They're also the only company on this list that would not provide pricing when I called, so that's yet another red flag. So for those reasons, I'm simply not recommending LifeSafer in any circumstance. And that's LifeSafer, S-A-F-E-R. At number 5, we have Intoxalock, and this is another one that I just don't really recommend under any circumstances. First of all, their fees are a little bit higher, so their installation is $200 to $300, and their monthly fee is $100 a month. So both of those are a little on the high side. But in addition to that, the defense bar recently received an email from a judge who was upset that she had to spend an hour on customer service with Intoxalock just to get a client's IID removed. Now, this was an IID that was installed on a voluntary basis. They didn't really even need a court order to get this removed, and yet they would not remove this device without the judge waiting on hold for an entire hour. This is completely unacceptable. Now, this is going to be a common theme where these companies will not remove your IID without certain requirements, and some of these companies are easier than others. Intoxalock is definitely one of the bad ones, and for that reason, combined with their higher pricing, I don't recommend Intoxalock. Next up, we have a tie between 2 companies that I really don't know much about, and that says all you need to know about the previous 2 companies that we mentioned. These are companies that I know very little about, and yet I'm willing to put them ahead of the other 2 companies. The other 2 companies I never recommend. These 2 companies are called Guardian and Alcolock. Both of them have 2 locations in Austin, and their location can be important not just for the installation, but you'll have to keep going back to these locations to get it calibrated. So it is very important that you have a location nearby, and both of these companies only have 2 locations in Austin, so that's a mark against them. Guardian has a wide range, so it's $70 to $170 for the installation and $50 to $120 for monthly. Now, those low numbers sound really good, but I wasn't able to get the criteria for when the installation fee would be on the low end versus the high end. So you would just need to call them to find out what price they would be quoting you specifically for your vehicle. Alcolock quoted me $54 for the installation and $120 for that monthly fee. So I would just call them both and see which one is giving you the better deal if you wanted to go with either of those 2 vendors. Next, we have RoadGuard, and this was recently rebranded. It used to be Dräger, and Dräger has the same problem that Intoxalock has, where they will not release your ignition interlock. I have called and emailed and gone back and forth with both Intoxalock and Dräger regarding getting the ignition interlock removed, and some companies, and we'll talk about this in a minute, are willing to accept the defense attorney's word for it. If we present the documents, we just email that to them and then we can set up that removal. Others, like RoadGuard, require that approval to come directly from pretrial services, and they have not even accepted a judge's order, a signed judge's order, to release that IID. I actually have some questions regarding the legality of that. I don't think it's really been challenged. They shouldn't be able to force you to keep it on your car, but they do. And put yourself in that situation. You have that order where you're getting that IID removed. You want it off as soon as possible. And sometimes it's been weeks or even a month before these companies catch on that they're supposed to be removing this IID. And of course, they don't refund you the fees for that extra month that you had the device in your car. And in addition to that, I've had issues with Dräger installations where the IID device has drained the battery in the car, especially if it's sat for 2, 3, 4 days. I even had one client whose vehicle died on the road while she was driving. That's a very dangerous situation, obviously. So I don't really recommend Dräger, even though it comes in at number 2 on the list. And you might be wondering, why is it number 2 on the list? Well, it is the bargain basement pricing. So they quoted me a $100 install and a $54 monthly fee, but with a promo they're running, and I imagine they're running this promo quite a bit, they're waiving the install fee and they're waiving the first month's fee. Sometimes I have clients who only have an IID for 3 or 4 months, so waiving that first month and the installation fee is actually waiving the bulk of the cost. So if price is your only consideration, then you might consider RoadGuard, although I don't recommend RoadGuard for my clients for the reasons I mentioned before. And at number 1, we have Smart Start. This is the company that I recommend to my clients. Now, it's not great. It does have its problems. All of the problems I mentioned before, sometimes they have bad communication with attorneys. Sometimes their devices do drain their cars. So if you're watching this and you had a bad experience with Smart Start and you're saying, how is this the number 1 rated company? Listen, I get it. None of these companies are very good. But among these very kind of terrible companies, this is the best one. They have the most locations. They're the biggest company. They have the best customer service. There's an email that defense attorneys can use directly to send them documents. They accept documents from attorneys, so when it's time to get that IID removed, they're going to be able to do it a little more quickly. Their pricing is middle of the road. They quoted me between $100 and $250 for the installation, depending on your vehicle, and $88 per month if you put it on auto pay. They also require a deposit when you make an appointment, which none of the other vendors did. But they have 5 locations all throughout Austin. Generally when I talk to someone, they have a Smart Start location that's pretty close to them. They also have an app with the client portal. Now, I don't know how useful that really is, but it does show that they have just a more professional organization than some of these other vendors that I've talked about. So for all those reasons, when a client asks me which IID vendor should I choose, I tell them usually just go with Smart Start. It's the safest choice. Yes, it's a little bit pricier than some of the others, but it doesn't have the problems to the degree that these other vendors have. Thank you for watching to the end. Again, my contact link is listed below. That'll send an email directly to me. And if you'd like a consultation on your case, I'm glad to talk to you.